bases. It's the ACC on ESPN. Miami won the toss and deferred. So Florida State will receive the opening kickoff. These are two dangerous kickoff return teams. Each has run one back this season for a touchdown. Deuce Spann, Keziah Holmes back for the kickoff from Andy Borregales. Mostly cloudy skies, the temperature near 80 degrees. There is the slight chance of a passing shower, and it's a bit on the humid side. Borregales, 35 touchbacks in 52 kickoffs. He generally doesn't give you a chance to return it. And that's a good idea with Deuce Spann back there, who brought one back, 99 for a touchdown against Duke. Miami leads the all-time series 35-32. But Florida State has won the last two, including a 45-3 win in South Florida last year. Here comes Deuce Spann. Did well to get to the 20. They made contact with him well shy of that. And here comes Jordan Travis. In his 6th year of college football, 1 year at Louisville, came here to Tallahassee in 2019. It is one of the great success stories in college football. Struggled early on, booed off the field a few years ago, thought about transitioning to wide receiver. Now he's a Florida State legend, trying to be the first Seminole quarterback to beat Miami as the starter 3 years in a row. His 37th career start. They are 26-10 with him under center as he starts for the 26th game in a row. With Trey Benson, the running back. Short set. It is Benson wide open and out of bounds near the 40-yard line, out at the 38 for a gain of 17.
Miami is highly aggressive defensively. Pressure on the first play by the defensive coordinator Lance Guidry. Travis gets it out immediately for a nice gain.
Playing without one of their starting cornerbacks, Darrell Porter, injured last week in their loss at NC State. Jaden Davis, who left last week's game, is the other starting corner. They had each started every game so far this year. Benson swung down by Jafari Harvey. Benson, part of the story, he played for Miami's Mario Cristobal when Cristobal was the head coach at Oregon. And when Cristobal left to go back to his alma mater, Benson went in the transfer portal. He had been battling knee injuries. Miami didn't want him. Benson ran for 128 last year against his former coach in that rout in Miami Gardens. Deep throw down the sideline and a step too long for Jaheim Bell.
A good decision there by Jordan Travis, but with Bell, who's an excellent tight end, not quite the same level of top-end speed that you would see from Keon Coleman or one of those wide receivers. Got to be a little bit more air underneath it to allow him to run underneath it.
And that's a big story today as well. Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson are back in action. There's Coleman, their leading receiver. Neither one of them played last week in the win at Pittsburgh. And they struggled for a while without them. Won 24-7. First time they scored under 30 all year. Under pressure, Travis got it off, caught, but it does not appear to be enough for the first down. Johnny Wilson came back to the ball for a 7-yard gain. He's 2 yards short of the first down. Wesley Bissaint, the linebacker, put the pressure on.
And Jared Harrison Hunt here engaged with the right guard, Dimitri Manuel. They kind of get a little bit crossed up as he breaks free inside, forces Travis to his left. It was a nice throw, but not enough to convert the third down.
Alex Mastromano in the punt. Xavier Restrepo back for it. He wears a different number as a punt returner. You don't want to have duplicate numbers on the field. Great bounce from Mastromano, and they're going to down it inside the 2. They have such outstanding special teams coached by John Papuchis. And it's always been a point of emphasis for head coach Mike Norvell.
And a big mistake there by Restrepo. You have to field that punt as he lets it bounce it around the 12, and the progressive pylon cam will show you well done by the Seminole special teams unit to drop it inside the 2.
It was A.J. Cottrell who batted it back for Coach Papuchis. They are tremendous on special teams and have been for all 4 years under this Mike Norvell staff with Papuchis, the special teams coordinator. So a tougher spot now than it even would have been for Emory Williams, the true freshman, starting from his own 2. Faked it to a fellow true freshman. He wants to launch it deep, and it's just a little bit too far for Colby Young. Well, they said he won't be fazed by it, and they have him dropping back into the end zone and launching one deep on his first throw of this game from a couple of hours away in Milton, Florida. Led them to that victory against Clemson. They came from behind. They were down 17-7 in that one. Leaned heavily on the run. They'll probably ask him to do more today. Molly said, be bold.
They're going to have to. This Florida State secondary is very good, and it'll be tight coverage most of the afternoon.
Mark Fletcher, the running back. He's emerged as the starter in recent weeks. The old offensive lineman Cristobal likes that straight ahead running style. He got 4. He ran for a career high 115 for Coach Cristobal last week at NC State. 5-6 head-to-head against Florida State. He was 3-1 as a player, an offensive lineman under Jimmy Johnson and Dennis Erickson. Played on a couple of national title teams back in the heyday of both of these programs. Crowd going crazy. Cristobal told his team, survive the first 5 or 6 plays in the atmosphere and you'll settle in quickly. Again, Williams in the end zone. Fires off the hands of Restrepo. Should have had it. He would have had a first down. And they were lucky it didn't get picked off by Akeem Dent.
Really well protected, and the throw looked as if it was on the mark, just a touch wide, as Restrepo gave it a great effort, but nearly intercepted as it was tipped up, and Dent got a couple hands on it as well. Fortunate break there for Miami.
So now Dylan Joyce, the true freshman from Australia, almost standing on the back line of the end zone. Keon Coleman at the 50-yard line. Line drive kick, and effective, and a fair catch made by Coleman. Retreating back to the 45. 50-yard punt. We proudly present Veterans Week on ESPN, brought to you by USAA. So a lot of these FSU students are getting ready to audition for the Taco Bell Live Más student section of the year. Really as early as Thursday they were kind of pre-gaming.
Oh yeah.
College Town just down the road. Down to the pistol, Jordan Travis. With Trey Benson, the running back. And Benson patiently ahead for a 4-yard gain. You had a veteran offensive line. Left to right, Darius Washington, Casey Roddick, Maurice Smith, Dimitri Emanuel, Jeremiah Byers. A combined 198 career starts. The least experience is Washington, the left tackle, and today's his 33rd career start. Dump to the tight end, Marquiston Douglas. Very close to the first down, about a yard short. They love their tight ends.
They're highly efficient when targeting the tight ends too, with Jaheim Bell, Marquiston Douglas, and Kyle Morlock. It's 3 guys that have very different skill sets, but extremely effective in the pass game.
3rd down and 1, 4 minutes gone by. The option toward the short side of the field. Looked like Benson was in trouble. Now it's the Canes who have a problem. Touchdown, Trey Benson. They James back at the 39-yard line. Nobody on the field realizes it, nor does this crowd.
The ruling on the field is the ball carrier stepped out of bounds at the 39-yard line. It'll be Florida State's ball, 1st and 10.
No question about it. So instead of the touchdown, it's a 7-yard gain for Benson, who's a big playmaker.
Such a big body with great burst, as you could see just how fast he was once he got through the initial defense. He also can make you miss too. He'll be spelled occasionally though by Lawrence Toafili, who's in the ball game now at running back. Very effective pass catcher. They really do a good job of utilizing him in that aspect.
They're going to stick with the pistol. Mike Norvell, the head coach, calls the plays. With plenty of help from the coordinator Alex Atkins, who also coaches the offensive line. The fake to Toafili over the middle, off the hands of his receiver, and incomplete. Intended for Kentron Portier, who has only one catch all year.
What's so difficult about defending Mike Norvell is the way he makes the run plays look exactly like the pass plays. Downhill run was working a little bit earlier, ran it on 1st and 10, open this drive, and a play that looks remarkably similar, and you fake it, you run the in-breaking route right behind it, and it's just off the mark for Portier.
8-13 in his first 2 seasons after he came over from Memphis, and you saw the graphic. 19-3. Winners of 15 in a row over the last 2 seasons. 3rd longest active winning streak in the country. Toafili, a hard-fought couple, taken down by Corey Flagg. Only Georgia, which will try to win its 27th in a row tonight against Ole Miss, and Washington, winners of 16 in a row, have longer winning streaks than Florida State.
He's done a great job with this program, just slowly developing a lot of the young guys that are now playing pivotal roles and chasing a championship.
He's done very well in the transfer portal as well. Douglas is wide open, has the first down, and is tackled around the legs at the 22 by Cam Kitchens, the outstanding safety. 16 yards and a Seminole first down.
And there's nobody out there with Douglas. They put the tight end out wide. They didn't communicate there defensively. He's completely uncovered. Travis hits him for a nice gain.
And now Florida State going with some tempo. They're in field goal range at the very least for Ryan Fitzgerald. Leaning heavily on the pistol so far. Toafili thrown down by Leonard Taylor III, part of a Miami defensive front that is headlined by Reuben Bain, a tremendous freshman, true freshman out of Miami, who was recruited by Florida State. Knowles had him up here for a visit last year. 1 week later he committed to Miami. They knew he was probably going to go to Miami. His brother Reggie is a graduate assistant on the Hurricane staff. It's a screen with a flag down. It's an incomplete pass. Corey Flagg had coverage on Keziah Holmes. Adam Savoie is the referee.
Offside. Defense number 20 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
James Williams, the safety, who will play around the line of scrimmage, clearly lined up offside.
Yeah, and trying to be in press coverage, but a little bit too close there as he's unaware of where he's at in the neutral zone. Lance Guidry has been talking all week long to his defense about defending screens. One was coming right there from Florida State. It looked like they had it pretty well sniffed out. So got to be real mindful of that when playing against Mike Norvell.
He said they spent all day Monday working on defending the wide variety of Florida State screens. Travis over the middle, caught, first down inside the 10. Jaheim Bell, the transfer from South Carolina, with a 9-yard gain.
He's going to be a problem for this Miami defense. They like to play a lot of man coverage, Miami does. So against man, if I have a tight end that's a matchup nightmare, that's where I want to look as a quarterback. So it's going to be very difficult for Miami to account for Jaheim Bell all afternoon.
Jeremiah Byers came off the field injured. Les Harris came in for him, so they shift Darius Washington from left tackle to right tackle. Benson. Long time for a whistle. He got stacked up after a 2-yard pickup.
Right.
Benson played 1 year for Mario Cristobal, excuse me, Greg, at Oregon, and transferred here to Florida State, now in his 2nd year for the Noles.
He's developed into an incredibly well-rounded back and does a great job in this part of the field. He always keeps those legs driving when the yards are hard to get.
Benson up the middle to the goal line, spinning, touchdown.
And a great job there in the middle by Maurice Smith. He's engaged with the defensive tackle. Leonard Taylor throws him to the ground, goes right to the right side of him. Benson does, and he continues to drive as he spins forward to find pay dirt. That was a great effort run by Trey Benson.
Ryan Fitzgerald for the extra point. Made all 45 this season. He's still perfect. 10-play, 55-yard drive capped by Trey Benson, redshirt junior from Greenville, Mississippi. His 9th rushing touchdown of the...
And in part by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above.
Parachuting in here. We have some of us reaching for the Tums, the U.S. Special Operations Command Paracommandos from MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa. 3 of them parachuted in pregame. On this Veterans Week, a heartfelt thank you to all the men and women who have served our country throughout the years and those who are doing so right now. The Fitzgerald kickoff is a touchback. Veterans Week presented by USAA. So second possession for Miami. This time Emory Williams not in the shadow of his own goal post. They started their own 2 and went 3 and out.
Highly important for Miami today to impose their will at the line of scrimmage. They have to be able to run the ball downhill. Florida State's excellent on the edges. They have great athleticism, but they have to be able to attack the defensive tackles, which is a 3-man rotation for the Seminoles.
Mark Fletcher, the running back. They want to pound the run. There's a flag down before the snap for a false start against the Hurricanes.
False start. Offense number 61. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The true freshman, Francis Maui Noah, out of American Samoa IMG Academy, part of the best recruiting class in the history of Miami football. They had 15 players, including Maui Noah, in the ESPN Top 300. Same 5 starters have opened every game on the offensive line this year for Miami. One of only 11 FBS teams to do that. Fletcher bounced outside. Fletcher, another one of those highly touted freshmen, shoved across the boundary by Renardo Green. And some whooping back and forth after an 8-yard play.
And that was a great job by Xavier Restrepo, too. He started on the right side of the formation. He went all the way back around to the left and got a nice block for Fletcher. Watch Restrepo pulling around. And you see an undersized wide receiver get that much engagement with the corner. He missed him at the end, but had him set up if Fletcher would have broke off inside of him.
Restrepo grew up in South Florida, dreaming about playing for the Canes. Ahead, Fletcher, just a little bit short of the first down. As a matter of fact, we talked to Xavier Restrepo during the week. He said, if I'm being totally honest, I came to Miami to play in this game against Florida State. A lot of disdain on both sides of this rivalry. Third down and 3. Williams on target, first down, and lots of run after the catch. Jacoby George. What a nifty run. After the reception, he took it all the way to the 25-yard line. Kalen DeLoach made the tackle. It was Kevin Knowles who whiffed, and that sent George on his way.
And also a broken tackle against Fentrell Cypress initially, who had the coverage underneath. Knowles just out of control as George puts a little shimmy and gets to the outside. He's got great run after catch potential. Has been a little bit inconsistent with his hands the last few weeks.
His 42nd catch of the season. Second on their team behind Restrepo's 60. Williams given a nice pocket, and it's incomplete. Almost hit the umpires. He fired toward Rashard Smith. Azarie Thomas had the coverage.
That's a good example of Emory Williams' maturity. Tried to get a shot play. They faked the screen underneath. Try to run the wheel up behind it. It's well covered. He didn't throw into coverage. He gets back to his next player in his progression. It's incomplete, but it wasn't a turnover, which has been a huge problem naturally the last few weeks at quarterback.
Tyler Van Dyke. One turnover in his first 4 games, 11 in the last 4, necessitating the change. Fletcher stood up and driven back. Cypress there with help from Malcolm Ray. There's Van Dyke on the sideline, available as the backup today. And Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, Greg, told us, we feel like the other 10 guys are playing well, and we've seen it here. He said it wasn't like Van Dyke's getting pressured and hit all the time. He was getting clean pockets, not making good decisions, not making good throws.
Guys were open, and he just wasn't hitting his mark. And at that point, you have to inject a spark. And they believe that Emory Williams is that spark. So far, he's looked pretty good, even though the numbers don't necessarily reflect it just yet.
1 out of 4, but it was a 43-yard play. They blitz him up the middle, and he gets smushed back at the 33-yard line. Kalen DeLoach with a 10-yard sack.
And he just comes right in between the left guard and the center. Clearly a bust in protection. You have to protect inside out. Cohen stayed wide. Lee stayed on his guy inside. DeLoach is unblocked right up the middle and makes this field goal much more difficult for Miami.
Andres Borregales, one of the best in the country, 17 out of 19 this season. And he hooked it. There's been a few wide lefts and a lot of wide rights in this rivalry. Borregales, after making 14 in a row, has now missed his last 2.
And it looks like the holder, Will Hutchinson, kind of bobbles the snap just a little bit. You see it bounce on the ground, and the laces are straight back as Borregales hits it, hooks it a little left. And you see Aaron Feld, the strength and conditioning coach, talking to Hutchinson after the fact and trying to iron that out moving forward.
A rare miss by Borregales, the candidate for the Lou Groza Award, which his brother Jose won for Miami in 2020. Benson got hit hard. Words that will be repeated today on both sides. It was Francisco Maui Noah, better known as Kiko, their second leading tackler, transfer from Washington State so he could play with his brother, the freshman offensive lineman.
He's their best blitzer. He's also their signal caller. Has a great understanding of the communication necessary in Lance Guidry's defense. So a very important piece there at the second level for the Canes.
There's Lance Guidry. First year at Miami, they changed out both coordinators. They have 7 new full-time assistants of their 10 from last year when they won just 5 games in Cristobal's first season as head coach. Benson fighting for every inch and got within a yard of the first down. Well, we mentioned part of the story. Benson played for Cristobal, and as you can see, no lingering bad blood. And when we talked to the Florida State coaches yesterday. They said, you know, they understood why Mario Cristobal wouldn't take Benson with him. You go to a new place, as the Florida State staff did when they came from Memphis here. You know, you don't want to bring too many of your guys from where you were before, because you want to win the trust of the guys you're inheriting them and let them know that you believe in them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Deion Sanders famously said, I'm bringing my own luggage, and it's Louis. But if you do that too much, you can certainly have an impact on the culture that you're going to try to create and the buy-in that you might get from the guys that are held over from the previous staff. So he decided against it, and it's worked out great for Florida State as Benson's developed into an All-American type of player.
Leonard Taylor is the injured player, and he's walking off, sophomore from Miami. Top 10 SEC showdown tonight on ESPN. It really is one of the games of the weekend, really the game of the weekend. Number 9, Ole Miss, and number 2, Georgia. Bulldogs, two-time national champions, 26 wins in a row. 7 o'clock on ESPN between the hedges tonight. Trey Benson, the running back, on 3rd down and 1. Travis has the first down. All-time leader in total offense at Florida State, by far the all-time leading rusher among quarterbacks at FSU.
A similar play they ran earlier on 3rd and short where they pitched it to Benson. This time the defense does a great job of keeping contained, but Travis stays patient, goes right inside his left guard Casey Roddick, and has just enough for the first down.
Lawrence Toafili in. Yeah, the running back behind Travis. Seven nothing Florida State. Toafili. Good tackle by Maui Noah. That might have gone a lot longer. 3-yard gain.
100% right there. If Maui Noah doesn't make that play, Toafili has really nobody behind Maui Noah. So if he doesn't make that one, that was a critical shoelace tackle.
Toafili, excellent number 2 running back. Redshirt junior out of St. Petersburg. Final minute of the opening quarter. Travis caught, first down. Inside the 35, Johnny Wilson, the 6'7" wide receiver, with an 18-yard gain.
Man, is it nice to have Johnny Wilson back. Came back a little bit for the Duke game, but left in the 3rd quarters, missed the last 2 weeks. But he's such a physically imposing target there with a great catch radius, so it's going to be huge to continue to utilize him off play action and take a shot or two against undersized corners for Miami.
Wilson did not play in the last 2 games, and Keon Coleman did not play last week at Pitt. Travis going deep for Coleman, and it's just out of his reach. Jadis Richard had the coverage. Transfer from Vanderbilt.
Miami's been a little bit beat up at corner the last couple of weeks. Jaden Davis and Daryl Porter went out of the game last week. You referenced earlier, Sean, that Daryl Porter is not available today. Davis is. But it seemed like, talking to Mario Cristobal and Lance Guidry, they might feel a little bit better about the younger players on their roster. Damari Brown in particular, number 6, he's a freshman. He's 6'2", and Jadis Richard, number 25, just in coverage a moment ago. He's 6'1" to go up against 6'4" Coleman and 6'7" Wilson.
Flag down. Might have been a timeout first. The officials are going to talk about that.
There is no false start on number 88. Prior to the snap, timeout. Florida State, they're first. 30 seconds.
Adam Savoie, the referee. This season, All-State will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, All-State. Such a great rivalry for the 30-year stretch from the late 70s to 2006, 30 meetings. At least one of these two teams was ranked in 23 out of 30. 13 of the 30 both were ranked in the top 10. There was a 7-year stretch from 1987 to 1993. They were both in the top 9. And how about this, Greg? 1991, 92, 93. Each of those 3 years, they were both in the top 3 in the country when they met.
Unbelievable. I mean, this game every year of my childhood was appointment television. All the great players there throughout the 90s, late 80s, and obviously the early 2000s as well.
Over that 30-year stretch, they combined to win 7 national championships, and Florida State added one in 2013. Travis throws, caught, first down inside the 20. It's Jaheim Bell with a 15-yard pickup. He's had an active first quarter that is about to end on that play. Jordan Travis, 7 out of 10 for 88 yards in the opening 15 minutes. And Benson, the touchdown. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Well, I think the fact that they're mixing up the run and the pass really well, they hit the RPO. They've given them a lot of time to throw the football as well. You know, we had a couple times we had a chance to get to them. We got there late. We got to slow them down. The best way to slow them down is to make sure we keep moving the sticks.
All right, thanks, Coach.
It is Florida State moving the sticks at the moment. First play of the second quarter, 7-0 Seminoles. Jay Benson finally gang tackled after a 2-yard gain, and Coach Cristobal right on it. 12 rushes and 10 passes. Good balance in that play calling for Florida State.
And they make everything look the same, too. So all the runs are married to the passes. And then after you run one of each, they have their curveball off of it as well, where it might be a screen. So Mike Norvell very thoughtful in his game plan every week, and does a tremendous job making the defense face a lot of eye violations where they're looking at one thing, it's going another direction.
Leonard Taylor back in for the Miami defense, and that throw is incomplete. Looked like a throwaway in the general direction of the Michigan State transfer Keon Coleman. We talked to Lance Guidry yesterday, the defensive coordinator for Miami. We said, what's the biggest challenge facing Florida State? He said, those 2 big wideouts.
I can certainly understand that. I mean, those guys are so difficult. Even when they're covered, they're open. But here on a 3rd down and long, Lance Guidry normally in the red zone, he likes to bring a lot of pressure. Knowing that those receivers are so dangerous, will he put his defensive backs on islands by bringing the house?
They are crowding the line of scrimmage. Only one-man Bain was down in a stance. It is to the end zone and incomplete. Off the hands of Keon Coleman with the true freshman Damari Brown in coverage. He's really been coming on in recent weeks.
Trying to work a back shoulder. It's well thrown, just a little bit high for Keon Coleman. Tried to flip his hips late. Was well defended by the freshman Damari Brown. It's a tough matchup. They're in one-on-one against what's likely to be a first-team All-American.
So here's Ryan Fitzgerald. He made his first 10 this season. He's 11 out of 12. You saw the only miss was a shorty at Wake Forest. And that one's good from 33. And the junior Fitzgerald having an excellent season. So 10-0 for Florida State. And Jordan Travis, who most people now have right in the thick of the Heisman Trophy conversation, along with the 2 West Coast quarterbacks, Michael Penix Jr. of Washington and Bo Nix of Oregon.
And earlier today, J.J. McCarthy, his victory against Penn State, really their first test of the year, kind of unimpressive with the numbers. Ran the ball effectively, but he might be trailing those aforementioned 3 now after what was kind of a so-so performance throwing the football.
It was a Michigan win at Penn State without Jim Harbaugh. Here, the game controlled by Florida State. Just 51 yards in the opening quarter for Miami, and 43 of them were on a pass play. No chance for Brashard Smith to return the kickoff of Fitzgerald. Here's a look at today's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by Prudential. Number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Georgia in action tonight. Terrific win for Michigan. Washington in a big one out west, trying to stay undefeated. Oregon and USC tonight. Texas and TCU on ABC. Alabama winner at Kentucky. Boy, remember all that angst about your alma mater at the beginning of the year? Oh boy, it's really going downhill.
They figured it out, haven't they, Sean?
Yep, I think old Nick Saban knows what he's doing. Emory Williams, can they get some sustained offense? Fletcher, a pickup of 4. Molly?
Well, Sean, this Veterans Day is extra special for the Williams family. His son Emory starting for Miami in front of his father, Stephen, who served in the Marines on Operation Iraqi Freedom, and he also went to Florida State. And they come from a proud military family. Both Emory's grandfathers served, and the family moved around a lot growing up. Stephen served in 19 countries on 4 continents, and as you mentioned, he's one of 7 boys ranging from 23 to 7. So for the Williams family today, about honoring the sacrifice of our veterans, but also celebrating their sons' accomplishments. Sean.
They're chagrined because there was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Miami, we believe, on Brashard Smith.
And it was well after the whistle. As you can see, the ball carriers down on the field, and
oh boy,
there's Brashard Smith, who kind of hits the defender Greedy Vance right in the head in front of the official.
So it wipes out a gain, and it's 2nd and 21. The Canes offense really struggling. They go to a quick screen, and it works well again. Jacoby George has been all their offense so far. He had the 43-yard catch and run in the first quarter. He has 25 here and a first down to the Miami 40.
And a terrific job by the right tackle, Francis Maui-Noa, number 61. He gets a piece of the defender, and it's off to the races. A little earlier, Jacoby George broke the game open on that 3rd down conversion catch and run. That's another one there where he shows off the speed.
Greedy Vance is the injured Florida State defender, backup defensive back. Caps Week 10 at 8 p.m. Denver and Buffalo. Payne and Eli have the Manning cast on ESPN2. Broncos, after a rough start, have won 2-0. And some angst in Western New York. Thought the Bills were going to be better than 5-4. Mark Fletcher, a 1-yard pickup on first down. See a shot of Renegade there. Scott Johnson, our great director. Renegade is a Broncos fan.
Oh,
tying that all together.
Makes so much sense. Yes, that makes perfect sense. It's next level thinking from the great Scott Johnson.
Emory Williams, the 19-year-old true freshman. Again, given a nice clean pocket, and the pass batted down by Joshua Farmer.
Protection's been excellent for Emory Williams so far, with the exception of the sack where they had a little bit of a bust up front as Farmer goes vertical and makes the play. Be a spot, though, to watch those excellent defensive ends from Florida State, Jared Verse and Patrick Payton, especially on the right side, working against the freshman Maui-Noa.
Payton is standout at knocking down passes at defensive end. He wears number 11. There's Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator. Williams steps up and goes down in the arms of Kalen DeLoach. His 2nd sack, that one for 5 yards.
And he's watching Mark Fletcher to make sure he doesn't escape. As soon as Mark Fletcher engages, though, with the defender, that frees up DeLoach to be able to close and drop Emory Williams for another 3rd down sack.
5th-year senior DeLoach, one of their team leaders, their leading tackler, had perhaps their most important play of the year when he blasted Cade Klubnik The strip sack picked it up, ran it in 56 yards for a touchdown to tie that game at Clemson. They were fighting from behind all day. Won it in overtime to end the 7-game losing streak against the Tigers. Dylan Joyce punt wound up very well for Miami, out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
Van Dyke, an experienced player, and talking to the freshman Williams, it's so
not surprising he'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Shannon Dawson said, you know, it's a very close quarterback room. He's going to be supportive of Emory Williams.
Shannon Dawson really challenged Tyler Van Dyke. Hey, man, be the best teammate you can be under the circumstances, and having that extra set of eyes with your backup quarterback on the sideline is so valuable to a young guy that the game is probably moving really fast for at the moment.
11.5 to go till halftime. 10-0 Florida State. Trey Benson, the running back. Travis faked it to him, just did get it off. It's Jaheim Bell. They have every kind of screen you can run. Their first play of the game last week against Pittsburgh was a tight end screen.
We referenced earlier how the run game sets up the play action, and then their changeup is a straight downhill run play action. They bring Bell across the formation. He chips the defensive end, and then you throw it to him on a quick screen. They have so many different variations of the looks to make it difficult on the defense.
16-yard gain, and that one dropped for a loss. Trey Benson hit behind the line of scrimmage by Wesley Bissaint. 3-yard loss.
Bissaint just beating those pulling offensive linemen, and Bell and Darius Washington kind of turning upfield, not seeing Bissaint, and he drops Benson behind the line.
Play clock running down too long for Mike Norvell's comfort, and he uses his second timeout.
Florida State, there's seconds, 30 seconds. Please reset the game clock to 10:14. Media timeout.
Honoring all of America's heroes this week, including those on our crew. David Wright, our generator technician, served in the U.S. Army. Paul Bush does a great job down to the field with our audio in the U.S. Navy. Our cart driver, Ron Parker. They're all trying to act like they're not on TV.
Great guys, and we're so appreciative of their service.
We sure are. Kurt Johnson, our official stat spotter up in the press box, also served in the U.S. Army. We thank all of them. Lawrence Toafili. Short gain. Matter of fact, it's a loss of a yard. Kiko Maui Noah, Jacob Lichtenstein in there for Miami. Under 10 minutes to go in the half. 10-0 Florida State. Mike Norvell calls the plays. They average just under 40 points per game. They're 9th in the country in scoring offense. They're trying to set up a screen. Faked it in one direction, threw it the other way. And Ja'Kai Douglas dropped by K.J. Cloyd. So all that practice against screens paid off for Lance Guidry's defense there.
And that was a good tackle in the open field by Cloyd.
7 is now 37. 7 is 37.
So difficult to defend Mike Norvell with all the different screens and faking it one way, throwing it back the other way. You have to be very disciplined defensively. At that time, Miami settled in and made the stop.
Alex Mastromano on the punt. You want to guess where he's from?
Australia.
Australia is correct.
Is that the athletic trivia question?
No, it is not, but we're going to have that in just a moment. Xavier Restrepo back deep for it. Play clock almost ran out. Good kick. And a fair catch made by Restrepo at the 19-yard line. 55-yard punt. Here's the athletic trivia question. You want to know when was the only time an unranked Miami team defeated a top 10 Florida State team? That is the situation here today. ranked as high as number 17 in the country. Is that a hint? Scott Johnson, Phil Dean showing Bobby Bowden's signature. This is Bobby Bowden Field. I have a feeling that was a hint.
Something tells me that he was patrolling the sidelines of that number 10 Florida State team.
Miami was as high as number 17 when they started 4-0, including a win against Texas A&M. They have fallen out of the rankings. Bashard Smith seeing more time at running back. He's primarily a wide receiver. Shoved out by Zaire Thomas. 6-yard gain. You want to guess?
I'm going to
blur it out a year.
I'll say 97.
Well, close. 1980. Pitchers duel. That's the answer to the Aflac trivia question. 10-9. Howard Schnellenberger was in his second season and Bobby Bowden his fifth. Jim Kelly scored on a 1-yard run. Seminoles scored late, went for 2, didn't get it. Donald Chaney featured back early in the year. And we have a highlight from 1980. I'm guessing that's Jim Kelly on the 1-yard run.
Would assume so.
And there's the late touchdown. Rick Stockstill threw the touchdown pass. They went for 2 and didn't get it. Miami the winner. These two schools have met every year since 1969. Chaney again leads ahead to the 30. Well short of the first down marker. They'll need 8 more. Patrick Payton made the tackle.
So far Florida State's been excellent against the run. Not a lot of room for any of these talented Miami running backs to really get going. Of course, the sack yardage will kind of affect the rushing numbers as a whole, but there just hasn't been a lot of space.
Miami only 2 field goals in Raleigh against the Wolfpack last week in a 20-6 loss, and they both came in the first 17 minutes of the game. They didn't score in almost all the final 3 quarters, Isaiah Horton to catch. Not enough for the first down. So it's been a long time since they put any points on the board. Shannon Dawson's the offensive coordinator in his first year here.
3rd and medium. We're almost always trying to design something to get it in the direction of Xavier Restrepo. He'll be lined up in the slot to the top, working against Jerrion Jones, who's back from injury for a week ago. I think Florida State will be real mindful of that matchup.
They rushed 5. Williams takes off running, lowers his head and gets the first down. And that brought his sideline to life. No slide. His parents love it. 6 yards and a first down.
And a good decision by Emory Williams, too, and great effort. Knowing how far he has to go to gain, the collision takes place right at that line to gain. And him lowering his shoulder is ultimately what gives him the momentum. His parents have to love it, but hold your breath when your quarterback and your son take off and engage in that kind of contact.
I'm just guessing based on her hat and his shirt, they have a good time. They look like fun people to hang around with.
Absolutely.
There's Chaney, a nice bounce to the outside, and now some speed. Inside the 35 of Florida State to the 34, a pickup of 26.
And you're going to see 2 Florida State defenders really work inside, which really allows a ton of room for Chaney to get to the edge. Tatum Bethune slid way too far, assuming that run was going to be an interior run. Chaney bounces to the outside, and Miami run game finally finds some open field.
Matches the longest run of the year for Chaney, a redshirt sophomore from Homestead. And so many of the players on these 2 teams from South Florida. Play fake Williams, throwing into single coverage, lots of contact, and they let them hand fight with no flags. Colby Young and Azarie Thomas. I think Mario Cristobal wanted the flag, and he's not going to get it.
Tried to go with a stutter go, just a little stop. See if you can't get him on the double move. A ton of contact there, and the crowd reacting strongly, believing that Colby Young threw down Azareye'h Thomas en route to the ball. I think that's probably a good no call with both guys grabbing onto each other.
They can both commit penalties.
Exactly. Basically an offsetting
Both
penalty.
did something, so we're not going to flag either one of them. Here's Cheney again. Donald Cheney inside the 10 and out near the 5. 29 yards on the run. That's a new long for the season for Cheney.
And a perfect kick out block by Cam McCormick. Cheney hesitates just right behind it and then gets to the edge yet again.
They stick with Cheney. Of course, he was a part of the most memorable play of their season. They were off to that 4-0 start. They had Georgia Tech beat. All they had to do is take a knee. But Coach Cristobal decided not to call for that. Cheney fumbled. Georgia Tech went down the field in 4 plays in the final minute to hand Miami about as excruciating a defeat as you could have. Cheney was in tears afterwards. Mario Cristobal said he never should have been in that situation. Mark Fletcher's in now, trying to jam it off left guard, and he was stopped after a minimal gain. Gilbert Edmond, a transfer from South Carolina, backup along that deep defensive front. Fabian Lovett, another backup transfer from Mississippi State, in there too. 3rd down and goal. They're just 2 out of 5 on 3rd down. The Noles defense held Pitt to 0 for 11 on 3rd down last week. Fletcher, the true freshman, is the running back alongside the true freshman quarterback, who fires, and it is caught for a touchdown. Jacoby George. What a drive. 11 plays, 82 yards. They took more than 6 minutes off the clock. And you saw the poise and accuracy that the coaches talked about regarding Emory Williams. The extra point good by Andy Borregales. 2nd career touchdown pass for Emory Williams. He threw one in their win against Clemson, the only other game he started. George, the touchdown, the 7th of his career. We have a ball game in Tallahassee to the delight of the Williams family. Emory Williams just threw the first touchdown pass allowed by Florida State here at home this year. It's their first touchdown in a couple of weeks since they scored in overtime to beat Virginia. Florida State was the only team in the country that had not allowed a touchdown pass at home this year. Now they have. Here's Kevin Nagandi after the touchback.
Sean, Capital One halftime report minutes away. Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi here. Washington trailing right now at home. Alabama rolling on the road, and Michigan just mad and angry.
It was a dominant performance. Think about this, Kev. The quarterback didn't throw the football the entire second half. They didn't need the quarterback. Almost like an Alabama team that won the title, quarterback by one Greg McElroy.
Highlights and reaction, Greg and Sean, coming up at the half.
Before Booger even started his comment, I knew where he was going with it. I mean, I knew without question he was going to take a shot at me right there. That was a lock.
Well, you can handle it. You're tough. National championship winning quarterback. Jordan Travis with a flag down, likely for a hold. He ran away from the pressure, and then a flag came out. Jeremiah Byers might have had too much of a grab of Jared Harrison Hunt.
Holding. Offense number 63. 10-yard penalty. First out.
On Byers, a transfer from UTEP. Transfers have really helped improve the offensive line.
It was a good bull rush there by Harrison Hunt, just walking Byers back, and as soon as Travis starts to leave the pocket, see Byers' right hand grab the jersey, and it was called well there by the official.
First penalty on Florida State. Miami has been assessed 3. Travis forced back, in trouble, and taken down in the end zone. Saint was there. The officials are conferring. There hasn't been a signal yet, but from here it sure looked like a safety.
The ruling on the field is that the ball was in the field of play when the quarterback was tackled. It's second down.
Replay official John Bush will undoubtedly be taking a look at that. Here's a look from the progressive pylon cam.
It's really close.
So Florida State's lining up to snap the ball. I can't believe that now the officials are going to stop it. I mean, you have to. What are you waiting for?
Previous play.
So we'll step aside. When we come back, we'll let you know what Matt Austin thinks. 2:02 to go. Big call upcoming. Well, we're back, and just a moment ago, Adam Savoie, the referee, said the ruling on the field stands. I have no idea how, so maybe Matt Austin can explain this. When the knees go down, the ball's clearly in the end zone.
The only thing I can think is at first contact, his feet were in the end zone, but the ball was in the field of play. But as they continued down the line, as he ran, the ball naturally came back into the end zone where he was tackled. I think this should be a safety also.
Completely agree. I mean, it's when he's down, the ball is not beyond the plane. I think it should be a safety.
That's absolutely brutal. The replay official is John Bush, and the conference will have some explaining to do. And just getting out of the end zone is Benson. Well, the momentum has changed, but it would have changed more significantly had that been ruled a safety.
Now it's probably time for Miami.
Timeouts.
Start thinking about timeouts.
They're first. 30 seconds. Please put 1:41 on the game clock. Thank you.
Trying to think of what to say. I don't know how you explain that.
Yeah. Outside of them just assuming the forward momentum, and he was pushed back, but it didn't seem that way. Jordan Travis was going backwards, so he wasn't forced back. I think that was a safety. I think that was a missed call for sure.
And it's one of the problems, I think, with replay. Here's a view from the pylon. I mean, he is retreating himself back into the end zone. He's not being pushed back in the end zone. And when he gets taken down, he's in the end zone. The ball's clearly in the end zone.
It's a reminder, too, the ball has to, it's like a touchdown, it has to break the plane out of the end zone.
Out.
Correct.
Fully across the line.
And I don't think it was.
And we'll try to get an explanation from the replay booth at the half. Here's Travis out of the end zone, juggling, and a drop by Johnny Wilson on a ball behind him. So Miami should get the ball with great field position and plenty of time. 1:37 and 2 timeouts.
Really off the mark there by Jordan Travis. Has really improved his accuracy, but that time, I mean, you have a 6'7" receiver and you miss him by 3 yards. He almost reels it in, but that was a big play because now Miami can save one of those timeouts as the clock is stopped.
Alex Mastromano. His third punt. This is very returnable. And finally out of bounds across the 32-yard line. Now a quick word from Cheez-It.
I'm RG3Z. See you next time. Hey, who changed my name to RG3Z?
Me? It's a great combo. Like college football and Cheez-It. You like?
You cheddar believe it.
And how will college football fans feel? They're gonna be feeling the cheesiest!
So there's a number change on the punt return. We don't know who number 36 is. They don't have one on their roster. Another one of the issues of college football that really should be addressed at some point. Duplicate numbers and guys changing numbers for particular plays.
Timeout.
That's
Florida State.
Ray Smith.
Their third and final.
Their starting center walking off. He's been injured off and on this season. Now on defense. A timeout used by Florida State. Seminoles really out of sorts right now.
Very much so. I mean, unable coming out of the timeout to properly get their correct personnel on the field for a 2-minute situation. This would be a good opportunity for Emory Williams. Praised for his poise. That's why he's starting this game. Has been making good decisions. Has had a nice start to the game, even though the numbers wouldn't necessarily reflect it. He's got to be really smart here in a 2-minute situation. You're already in field goal range. Can't take a sack under any circumstance. Just got to kind of continue to methodically pound away. I think that Miami, too, with 2 timeouts at their disposal, they can theoretically run the football here if the opportunity presents itself.
Well, prior to this, Miami's average starting field position was their own 18. Their first possession of the game started at their own 2. They're at the Seminole 31. Another screen intended for George. Deflected up in the air. Incomplete. Grady Vance, the crowd thought he picked it off.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
And now Emory Williams wants his teammates to line up quickly. Sorry, Thomas deflected it.
Probably don't want him to review that last play. It's the reason for the hustle.
And they are going to review it.
The ruling on the field of an incomplete pass is under further review.
Well, Emory tried to get them up there fast enough.
Does look like that left arm is underneath the ball.
Does it slide around right there?
It does move around a little bit, but it does look as though that left arm, though, is underneath it. It was called an incomplete pass on the field, so for it to be overturned, there has to be indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt. Looked like to me, Sean, like he was able to kind of corral that as he turned to his side.
The punt returner on the last one was Ray Joseph. Who ordinarily wears number 5. So if this one goes against Miami from the replay booth, they're really going to be hot in Canes Nation.
Yeah, understandable. I mean, first one, safety, definitely felt like it was a missed call. This one is a little bit closer. It's just whether or not he has control as he goes to the ground.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
So anxious moments for Coach Cristobal. 1:20 to go. He has 2 timeouts. Florida State doesn't have any remaining here in the first half. Emory Williams at quarterback. True freshman from Milton, Florida. Recruited for a while by FSU, but they fell off after they got a commitment from a top freshman prospect in Brock Glenn. Here's Donald Chaney, the star of the second quarter. Down to the 13-yard line and a first down. Patrick Payton the tackle.
And there's only 5 defenders in the box defensively for Florida State. They have 5 blockers, obviously, along the offensive line. That's just really bad numbers from Florida State, trying to take away the pass. Miami recognized it was a similar alignment the play before. They hand it off, and it's a big gain.
6 carries for 80 yards for Chaney, all here in the second quarter. Carried only twice for 4 yards last week at NC State. They're on the move with 45 seconds to go, trying to take the lead. No gain there. Tatum Bethune, the senior linebacker from Miami, out of Central High School and went to UCF and transferred to FSU.
Miami.
And Miami now has 1 timeout left with 37 seconds to go.
Please reset the game clock to 39 seconds.
39 seconds to go. Tomorrow, the women's college basketball triple header. Starting at 1 on ABC, number 14 Maryland, number 6 South Carolina. At 3 on ABC, second-ranked UConn against NC State. At 5 p.m. on ESPN, 9th-ranked Indiana against number 15 Stanford. You know, we've seen so far, Caitlin Clark's still pretty good.
Oh my goodness. She's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. It's wild to see LSU lose the season opener as well. So a lot of drama right now here in the early going of hoop season.
Rashard Smith, they're trying to get him more touches as a running back. Primarily a wide receiver. He's on the left side of Emory Williams. Williams, plenty of time, is pass complete to Smith. A little bit behind him that might have cost him the first down. And perhaps even a touchdown. So it's 3rd down. Less than a yard with 20 seconds to go in the first half. And Fletcher in big trouble. And they'll have to let it run all the way down and call the timeout and kick a field goal to tie it. And that's what Cristobal is going to do. Tatum Bethune, the initial contact on that 3rd down stop.
Just all discombobulated as Jared Verse off the